So we are going to cover the seventh verse, or part of the seventh verse, seventh Pauri today. So here it talks about Je Jug Chare Arja. The seventh verse, Je Jug Chare Arja. Je means if. Jug is talking about the four jugs. And we'll go into that concept a little bit. The four ages. Chare, Jug Chare, the four ages. Arja means lifespan. Arja means your lifespan. If you were to lengthen your lifespan to the length of the four jugs. So back in the days, Gurujis' time, yogis would boast about this idea that they could extend their life. And we hear stories about people who've lived for 100, 200, 1,000 years, 10,000 years, yogis who have slowed their breathing down so much and controlled their breathing that they'll take one breath every year or something like that. And they really slow their breathing down. So this concept has always been around. The concept comes from the idea that breath isn't what keeps us alive. That the yogis have had this idea that behind the breath is life energy. Life energy is what keeps us alive. That life energy is called prana. So the yogis have had this idea, these mythical ideas, that prana is what you're made of, your life energy. And when you breathe in, you're not actually breathing in oxygen and air, you're breathing in life energy. And that life energy is being transformed, or transported rather, through the medium of breath. So when you breathe in, scientists will tell you that your body is taking in oxygen and breathing out carbon dioxide. But what the yogis say is that you're also breathing in life energy. And what they've learned to do, according to their mythology, is they've learned to slow the breathing down, but maintain the life energy. So they can say that we don't need the breathing, but we can just maintain ourselves on prana. In the same way, you have stories even today in India of people who say that they've stopped eating altogether. These great sadhus who say that we have no need for food at all. Why? Because through breathing, we're getting all the energy we need. Again, it goes back to this prana concept. And then this technique is being addressed. Pukhya Pukhana Uttari. Yeah, this technique. So Guruji's talking about the techniques that have been around. So this idea has been around that you can extend your life and you are a great Maharishi, Mahasadhu, a great spiritual master in some way, if you can extend your life. Guruji's challenging this concept. So let's talk about, it talks about a very interesting concept here, the Char Jug. And I just want to spend a little bit of time going into that. In fact, if you look into the mythology of the Char Jug, the four yugs, the four ages, you'll find that it's actually quite endless. The mythology and the theories and the philosophies into the jugs keeps going. There's a lot that you can read about this, but let's just cover this in a basic idea. There are four jugs according to Hindu mythology, and they happen in a sequence. The first jug is known as Satyug. Satyug, the first jug. It's the beginning. It's followed by Treta. Satyug, Treta, then the next yug is Dwapar. Dwapar. And the final yug in the cycle is Kaljug. Kaljug is known as the age of darkness, and Satyug is the enlightenment age. Everything is perfect in Satyug, and everything is weak, bad, being destroyed in Kaljug. So according to this mythology, we are said to be in the Kaljug era. We're in Kaljug. And what's really interesting is It's almost like seasons. Like in a year, we have 4 seasons: spring, summer, autumn, and winter. Hindu mythology extends that through a much bigger expanse of time, and actually says that throughout time we have these 4 almost like seasons that moves from a sunny, everything is happy, everything is glorious season down to a dark, almost like you can say it starts with summer and it ends with winter. Yeah, it starts with daylight and ends with nighttime. That's the kind of the theology behind it. And if we think about it, what we're talking about really is, if you think about even whatever your understanding of the mythology is, the planet is actually not affected by this time. Yeah, the stars are still the same, the sun is still the same sun, the moon is still the same sun, the earth is still the same earth. So who is affected by this Satyug and Dwapar, Treta? Who is affected by it? We're affected by it, yeah? So actually what this is talking about is a change of consciousness, a change of our behavior, of our understanding of lifestyle, of how we interact, yeah? There's nothing that says that in Satyug that the sun was shining brighter or anything like that. The sun is still the sun, the moon is still the moon. So really it's something that affects us, humans. Yeah? Now this is where we can start to understand that there's symbolism behind these things. So the way to look at it is something that is 4, has 4, a length of 4, has also been transformed into a different idea. Now this is where we go into a different idea. Taram, according to Hindu mythology, is represented by a bull, an ox. Taram is represented by an ox or a bull, which has horns, and the universe is being balanced on the horns of the Taram bull. Later on, we'll come across this idea, Tal Taram. Yeah? Tal Taram. So this Hindu mythology talks about Taram, and we've talked about Taram before, Taram being the divine law. The universe is balancing on this divine law, the right way to live, the right purpose in life. The universe is hanging on that. But in Satyug, this bull has 4 legs. Treta is where the word 3 comes from. Treta, tre. In Treta, one of the legs is lost. So the bull is balancing now on 3 legs. Dwapar is where the word 2 comes from. Dva. We talk about Dvat. Dva. It's where we even get the word 2 from. In Dwapar, the bull has lost another leg. So now what the universe is not hanging on as much Taram as it was in Treta, and certainly not as much as it was in Satyug. So humanity is now less in Taram, less behaving according to Tarmic rules. And in Kaljug, there's only one leg left that this bull of Taram is standing on. So we're hanging on by a thread. There's hardly any Taram left on the earth, according to this mythology. In Satyug, everybody lived in Taram. Everybody, there was no stealing, there was no crime, according to this kind of almost a romanticized fantasy of Satyug, that there was a time when people lived like this. Yeah? So that's why we get the words Treta, 3 legs, Dwapar, 2 legs, and Kaljug now has 1 leg. What those 4 legs of Taram are debated within Hindu mythology. Some say one of the legs is truthfulness, some say one of the legs is daya, compassion, one of the legs is contentment. What these 4 legs are, that's being debated. Some people have named them, and some of the Veds name the 4 legs, some of the Veds name different 4 legs. But the general idea is that there is this kind of sturdiness in Satyug, that the Satyug is balanced. The universe is very balanced in Taram. There's a lot of Taram in the universe. Now let's go to other concepts. I'm trying to bring a lot of different things that you might have heard of. It's almost all nicely wrapped around in this yugs concept. So you have to understand this. In order to understand Hindu mythology, you have to understand this. Because Satyug was this perfect age, and again, there's not that much clarity why Satyug comes to an end, but it comes to an end after a period of time. It's like his time came to an end and then Treta came. There was no need for any avatar. There's no need for any incarnation of the divine. It's like everybody is an avatar. Because one of the legs of Taram is dropped, then you get to Treta. There's a need now. People are not behaving as they should. There's lots of war between big kings. Ego starts coming into place. Yeah? And because of this, it says that in Treta Yug, Ram has to be born. So the whole story of Ramayana happens in Treta Yug. There is a need for a character like Ram to be a beacon of light, a symbol of what Dharam should be like, what mankind should be like. And this is why in Hindu mythology they call Ram the perfect man. So he is the example of the perfect man in Treta Yug. In Dwapar Yug, Krishna is the avatar. And the whole story that you might have heard of Mahabharata, that happens in Dwapar Yug. So no avatar in Satyug. Ram is the avatar in Treta. In Dwapar, it's Krishna. The whole story of Mahabharata happens there. So Krishna is like the ideal example of how we should be, the ideal Lord. Everybody looks to Krishna, and the whole Gita, the Bhagavad Gita, is set around the teachings of Krishna. And it says that the Dwapar age comes to an end at the end of the Mahabharata story. When Krishna feels his time is done, he leaves the earth. The moment he leaves the earth, that's the start of Kal Yuga. And according to Hindu mythology, that's where it all ends. Now we're in Kal Yuga. It's all going downhill from here. Now you can understand when Gurbani talks about Kal Taran Guru Nanak Aya. So according to Sikh philosophy, if this yugs exist, it says, okay, we're in Kal Yuga, but the avatar of Kal Yuga is Guru Nanak. Guru Nanak is the avatar of Kal Yuga. He is the one that will save us and show us how to live in Kal Yuga. And what does Guru Nanak Dev Ji say is the way to live in Kal Yuga? What is his teachings? His teaching is song, praise. Yeah? Kal Yuga mein Kirtan Pradhana. So Sikhi is teaching that Nanak is the perfect example in Kal Yuga. And his message is a message of Kirtan, of song, of Gaviya. Yeah? So this is where you can start hearing the references to Nanak and Kal Yuga all sit within this bigger philosophy. Yeah, so we have to appreciate what that philosophy is. Whether this is true or whether it's mythology doesn't matter. But Gurbani uses these references. It doesn't really enter into a debate to say Satyug never happened. It doesn't really go into that. It says if you believe in these things, then, and if you believe that this is Kal Yuga, then you have to understand that Nanak is the prime example of how to live in Kal Yuga. Guru Nanak is the savior in Kal Yuga. He's the one that shows us how to live in this time. In the problems that we understand Kal Yuga to be, Guru Nanak will give us the solutions to those problems. Kal Taran Guru Nanak Aya. To swim us across, to save us across in Kal Yuga, Nanak has come to the world. So then we can start understanding some bigger context. Why do we use these references like Kal Yuga?